Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we're out driving the 2022 Volvo XC60 T8 Polestar engineered Recharge Extended Range. Big long name to mean that this is one of the best cars I've driven under $100,000 here in 2022. And I've got Chris,
Hello.
who's going to be riding along in the passenger seat, and I'm going to tell him about how great this car is so that you all can experience it with us. So Chris, first of all, look at this color. Definitely stands out, you know, a little bit unique, just enough to kind of catch the eye, but not be too loud. Look at me. I don't know the name of this color.
There's a little bit of metallic in here too.
It's a very light metallic, yeah. It's just enough. It's a little
subtle.
dirty right now, but you can't tell.
Yeah. Also, I think you forgot inscription.
Is there inscription in there
I think
as well?
so.
I don't think, because it's the T8 Polestar engineered, I think that's different than inscription.
Are you sure?
If it were inscription, it'd have a crystal shift knob.
That's a good point.
That is, yep.
And it does not have a crystal.
Right, exactly.
Sadly.
We've been over a lot of the various Volvos with the new design language. It's hardly even new anymore. You got your good old Thor's hammer up front. But what you should know on this car is look at these giant brakes. These are Akebono and Volvo Polestar engineered brake 6-piston calipers with huge rotors. This thing really spans a lot of different categories in terms of performance SUV, but also because it's a plug-in hybrid, being remarkably efficient and smooth all at the same time. Coming in right about $72,000 as spec'd, you're getting 455 horsepower, 523 pound-feet of torque, but more importantly, a lot of upgrades to the hybrid system and the EV aspects of this car. So for 2022, with the Recharge Extended Range models, Volvo has upped the size of the battery pack. So you're dealing, I want to say it's 14.1 or something like that. Maybe it's actually 18 or so kilowatt hours in the battery pack, which means in this car you're getting about 35 miles of all electric driving. And we even tested that in our highway fuel economy test and got actually just almost 36 miles at highway speeds running on EV alone, which is really quite impressive.
Yeah.
So you can do pretty much all of your sort of daily driving, all of your needs and everything on electric mode. And then when you want to bump that up to full power, you switch it into one of the other drive modes and away you go.
Yeah.
Another thing that's important with the newer battery pack is the previous T8 Polestar engineered models only had 87 horsepower when they were on EV alone, but this has 143. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot more torque as well, and it allows you to comfortably drive this car in EV mode at pretty much any speed. You can get up to speed in traffic and everything. You don't have to worry about getting flattened by a semi-truck just because you want to run on electrons only. We're not going to talk too much about the practicality of the XC60 model as a whole. It's essentially an compact crossover. You've got the room for your goodies. I will say this is a pretty low load surface though, you got to point out. This is a little spot for your charger. Pull it up even further. No spare tire, but you do have some inflation kit business and a big old battery in there.
Big old battery.
Yeah.
It's like a BMW battery.
It really does. Some metal tie-down hooks. I know that's important for some people. A place to put your gallon of milk so that you can drive in Polestar engineer mode and not have it flying all over the cabin.
That's crucial.
I do wish there were a way to fold down the seats without reaching way forward, but if you've got long enough arms, you can do that and get a fairly flat load surface as well. Only 60/40 split fold seats, but you do have a center pass-through should you want to put some seats or 2x4s through your XC60.
Skis.
Yes.
Some skis.
Oh, I said seats, didn't I? Skis.
Yeah. It is the
Skis,
ski chute.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. 12-volt outlet back here as well, and a few extra grocery bag hooks. Getting into the back seat, you can see here both of these seats pretty much set up for average size drivers, 5'10" or so. Taking a look at Chris, looks like he's got a good amount of knee room, leg room. Looking in the gold, Polestar gold seatbelt.
Does this clash with my Buc-ee's shirt?
Just a little bit, yeah. But you know, it's all a vibe.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the gold seatbelts.
Me too.
Every
It really
single
sets it
person
off.
that I've had this car around this week, the first thing they comment on is, wow, those seatbelts are sweet.
They really are.
Yeah,
and
cool.
Unlike some brands we get in, the fifth seatbelt is colored as well.
Yes. 9 times out of 10. And even in the CT5 Blackwing with red seatbelts, the middle one was black.
Not in this. Volvo has that
There you
attention
go.
to detail. They
Yeah.
really do.
They sure do.
Chris at 5'10" has a good amount of headroom as well,
Yes.
even with the panoramic sunroof open.
Mm-hmm.
Not a
Plenty.
bad place to be. Heated seats back here. Some power points, USB-Cs, and
USB-Cs.
air vents. Very important for if you have babies back here or even adults who want to be cooled down. See some of our Bowers and Wilkins speaker grills.
What is this thing for?
I believe that you can put some sort of
Put a hanger up
like
there?
a net,
Oh.
like accessory that can go into here, like a dog net, for example.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep, that
I
can
was
go
in the
in there.
Winding Road video just like sticking my finger in it. I'm like, I don't know what this is.
Also, if I remember correctly, and this might not work, go ahead and close your door.
Yeah, you gotta have the door shut.
I believe as these slowly turn off in a second. Just enjoy our
Wait,
time back here.
Yeah, what are we waiting for?
Waiting for the dome lights to turn off.
Okay.
Yep.
Did my door shut all the way?
Yeah, it's probably just taking it probably has like a 30-second timeout.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Nice center flip down armrest with some very German-esque cup holders, even though this car is not German.
It's still European.
Right, exactly.
Even your little pull tab is leather.
Yes. Yeah, really all the materials in this car.
Yeah, I'm a big fan
quite
of this
great.
material.
Interesting you point that out. I was going to point that out in the front. It feels nice to us. However, when Alyssa was in this car with relatively short shorts on, right here, she said it was not comfortable
Probably
against
left
her
an
legs.
imprint on her legs.
Well, not only that, it just, I mean, because like take the top part of your hand and like rub it against. That's
Oh,
kind of harsh.
Yeah.
It's not a soft like Alcantara style fabric, and up there it hits your legs quite a bit.
Right then, so if you are a girl and you have an XC60, wear old
Capris.
woman capris.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So now you see this light. You can turn the dome light on, but
Right.
should you want to just have some moderate light, if this is too bright for you, you simply hold it down, and you can dim it.
Oh, it is dimming.
Yes. It's kind of hard to see in the daylight.
Yeah,
here.
no, I can confirm that. It's dimming.
Right. And then you can tap, but again, you turn it on, hold, you can dim down.
Such a Volvo thing.
Such a Volvo thing.
Kind of like the cruise control where you have to hold it to...
Yes. Yeah, the opposite orientation
Yeah.
of cruise control. Here's your charge port. No DC fast charging, you don't need that for the relatively small battery pack. Let's pop open the hood. There's a few things I want to point out under there. First things first, look at how high up this hood goes.
That's great. It's in service mode.
It's so high, to the point that if you're standing right here, you cannot reach.
It's okay, just go to the side.
Yeah, you do. You genuinely have to go to the side because
Yeah.
there's no way you're going to reach it from the front. And then if you look over here, you can actually adjust the suspension here, the Öhlins shocks. You can twist
Yeah.
this to get a little bit more or less rebound. I don't know if it's rebound or compression damping, but something that I don't think most owners of XC60s are going to be fiddling with much.
I probably
but,
don't know they have it.
Right, probably
But
not.
also, Polestar strut bar.
Yeah, quite a rigid one.
Yeah, they should have made it gold.
Right.
I think they missed.
And this is like one of the plushest, like most
is plush.
absorbing
Maybe
sound
that's so it doesn't get so hot.
dampers. I think it's probably for that, and also just really probably soaks up a lot of noise.
Oh, true.
'Cause this
Yeah.
car is pretty chill inside.
Yeah, it is.
So we've talked a lot about the driving. Let's get behind the wheel and do it. it's really tough. Here, let's show
Yeah,
you.
I was gonna say
show
you should have
doing
made
it.
me do it. It's not so hard.
There we go. Neat.
I would just worry about shutting it from the side like that if both latches will go. But yeah, it looks good.
Right. Another thing that this is really subtle, but it's something I appreciate, is you can actually lock the doors from the back and then also unlock them for the back. It's something like the Cadillac we just had, the CT5V Blackwing. You could only do lock and unlock from the front doors. And it's subtle, but if you're walking up to the car and say you want to put something in the back first, like a bag or a child, it's important to be able to unlock that from the rear and just
Oh,
secure it
yeah.
in. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very nice.
I always get irrationally irritated when I walk up to a car and it's locked and the keys are in my pocket, my hands are full, and I'm trying to put something in the back seat and I
Right.
try to go for the door and yeah, it's just
Yeah,
it sucks.
I'm totally with you there. Great, it's a very nice gauge cluster screen here. You've got a little bit of mapping up front, and when you set a destination in the map here, it gives you nice navigation instructions up there in the middle. Small complaint with all Volvos is that even at $72,000, it's a manually adjusted steering column. Some people have said that's for safety. I think that's bullshit because
Could be for
Mercedes has
safety.
them.
Yes, but Volvo cares very much about
So
safety.
does Mercedes.
But however, I will say
Mhm.
you don't break a finger when
That's
you use
true.
it. It's not like a Stellantis vehicle. It's a
No.
very smooth locking
I do
manual.
appreciate that, yes. You
steering
can just
column.
kind of ease it in. It's tough,
can.
but you can.
Yeah, but it
it's firm.
right.
Yep. Really a beautiful cabin up here in the front. So many different aluminum pieces and a good blend of both functional and beautiful as well. I like all the stitching. You got actual leather up here on the dash,
Mm-hmm.
the various Bowers & Wilkins speaker grills, good comfortable places to put all of your appendages.
Yeah, I like this silver trim also that runs along the dash.
Right, and then because this is all one big unbroken piece of aluminum here, they actually put a little expansion joint over there that looks
right
like
here.
the Swedish flag. So that can actually allow the aluminum to expand and contract when the cabin gets warm and cold. I think that's pretty clever.
Yeah.
Wireless device charging. Does this fit your iPhone 13 Pro Max
Yeah.
or 12 Pro Max?
It sure does. And I was with my buddy yesterday, and his has a big, bulky case on it.
Mm-hmm.
Same phone as mine, and it fit
Wow.
just fine.
Right.
So I mean, I've even got a little bit of room here.
Yeah.
And I've got a case on mine, and this is the biggest iPhone. So
Really, as long as you're not driving like a hoon, that'll sit in there quite nicely.
I was gonna say it keeps it.
Does it?
It keeps it pretty well.
Okay.
Usually, if you have this shut, you can just kind of put it up
Tuck it in
against
there.
there. You could even
you
do
could
that.
really tuck it in, yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And it won't go anywhere.
I
Yeah.
really
So
thought
pretty
of
cool.
that. Yep. Overall, compared to some compact crossovers, it's a little tight for storage space up here. The center console's not fantastically deep, and the door pockets are a little bit small.
Glove box is decently
Glove box is quite
sized.
good. Yeah. A few more little quirks. One of those is you have to press the shifter once down to get into neutral, and then again down for drive. Now me, I like to drive in Volvo's one pedal driving mode, so I press it a third time down to get into B. And yes, when you get in, you can kind of triple tap. You sort of get used to that. But the one pedal driving mode is increased in these T8 Recharge Extend models. We're going to try not to curve a wheel.
Yeah, probably a very expensive wheel.
Yes, 21 inches. And it actually does take the car fairly aggressively to a stop, so much so that you can get away with, if you're driving smoothly and just kind of casual driving, you don't need to use the brake pedal, which is really nice for those of you who have not driven an electric vehicle with one pedal driving. It's something that takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you do, it's just a nice way to not have to move your foot back and forth. One of those first world things that, oh, I don't have to move my foot over to the brake pedal. Great. Like coming up to this speed bump.
Yeah, I was shocked at how refined that system is for just being a plug-in hybrid, because usually you don't get that in plug-in
No, you
cars.
don't.
Only in EVs.
Right, and that's because typically plug-in hybrids don't have the powerful enough motor. You must have turned creep on, didn't you?
I did turn creep. You don't like creep?
Yeah, because then it doesn't come to a total stop when you're one pedal driving.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas now,
Well, I had that on when I was in hybrid mode because I wanted it to creep.
fair enough. Most plug-in hybrids don't have, or even especially normal hybrids, don't have a very powerful electric motor, so they can't regen very powerfully either. But because this has a more powerful electric motor for propelling, it can also use that for regenning. Volvo also has a nice feature where if you like a firmer and heavier steering feel, you can click steering feel firm, and then it makes the steering feel
Charlie and I never toggle that on.
No, we like a nice light steering. I like 2 fingers to just be able to kind of move the car about.
And that's one of my favorite parts about Volvos is how light the steering is.
Yes.
So I never toggle that on.
Correct.
And even when you do though, it's not that heavy.
No.
Like it's
It's firm.
yeah.
One thing that does kind of surprise me, this text font, doesn't that look like fairly low res?
Yeah, it
Like, don't you
does.
think? Because you go to this screen, and this all looks very nice.
Yeah, it does.
We go into the menu, and it all looks very unnice.
Yeah.
Boy, look at this douchemobile. Sport! Ram! Grab life by the horns.
Sport.
Even here at 45 miles per hour, I put my foot down. And Volvo's done a really clever way of handling the plug-in hybrid powertrain, and it's my favorite way of doing it. So the accelerator pedal, as you push it down, you see this power meter on the right side of the gauge cluster increase, and it'll bring it all the way up to 100%. And I can put my foot just about all the way down, and it stays in EV. But at the very top, the very bottom actually, if you will, of the accelerator pedal throw, there's a button. And if I push down and click through that button, it takes a little bit of resistance, but then that's if you were in an emergency type situation and you wanted all of your power right there. You don't need to click in and go into a different drive mode. It simply changes it automatically. And I really do appreciate that, because for 99% of your driving, you can just drive as an electric vehicle. But then if someone were speeding up on you, or for whatever reason you needed more power, push down through that button and away you go. It's a really smart way of doing it. I'm going to switch it into Polestar mode now. No paddle shifters, which usually I'm okay with. I'm a bit surprised in a car like this that's supposed to be sporty that it doesn't have any sort of paddle shifters.
You can manually shift on the shifter though.
You can use the shifter to do that, which is nice.
This thing is so quick.
It really is. It surprised me. I mean, there aren't too many cars that we can get that quite fast coming in here, and we know we have plenty of stopping power.
Oh,
those
yeah.
giant brakes.
Very confidence inspiring. Good brake pedal feel too for a plug-in hybrid.
Yeah, that's a good point. Unfortunately, because it only is a 2-liter turbocharged and supercharged motor, it's not like it's the most inspiring or fun powertrain. It's not loud, it's not rowdy or anything like that, but it does make power and it does accelerate the vehicle.
You just whoosh off.
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're just driving a sporty EV.
Yeah.
Ride is firm but not shaky.
Firm
not
but
crashy.
not crashy. Yeah.
Yep.
Do a launch.
Yeah, I'll do a little launch here. And the seatbelt pretensioners also tighten up a bunch.
Those brakes are wild for an SUV like this.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And having that extra hybrid power also helps fill in the torque gaps down low when the turbocharger hasn't really stepped in. But you gotta kind of wonder, I mean, there is a lot that's going on between, you got your hybrid, you got your turbo, you got your supercharger, you got the...
It is tri-charged, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, heaven forbid the third owner of this car. Or God help, I should say.
Oh, we
God
won't
help the
worry
third
about
owner.
them. That's fine.
Also, I don't know if you've noticed this, but sometimes it doesn't like to change into pure mode. You have to kind of wait a little while.
Well, you have to put it in hybrid first and then pure.
No, I was able to go straight from Polestar to pure.
Oh, really? I
But
couldn't get it to do that for me yesterday.
sometimes I think there's like a cool down period or something
Probably,
like that.
yeah.
In fact, when I was driving this hard during the winding road drive, I found that my maximum power in EV mode was actually limited a little bit. It came down some.
Interesting. It was getting too hot.
I think it was getting too hot. Yeah, it was one of those very warm days. Speaking of warm. Jeez. So when we get up onto the highway here, I'm going to do a full acceleration onto the highway in pure mode. So only electric vehicle. And just show how there's plenty of power to use this daily as a true hybrid. Or as a true electric vehicle compared to the old car, which is kind of like, it's doing a good job, but 87 horsepower, certain times you're like, I need gas.
Right.
Some sod on the on-ramp there.
Yeah, that's not good.
There we are, 70 miles per hour. Turn on our cruise control and utilize the pretty darn good pilot assist. There's a lot that I like about this that I found on the highway fuel economy test. Unlike certain vehicles that you have to put a lot of force into the steering wheel, just the tiniest, just most subtle little bit of steering force will let the car know that you're paying attention and allow it to continue driving you through the lane like this.
Yeah, this was nice. Yesterday I was driving it while eating a burrito, and it just did it all. I mean, I just had to, touch it every
Burrito mode.
10 seconds or whatever, and
Here we are. It's telling me to hold the steering wheel. If I don't, it'll start a nice little chime. And then if I don't touch it after that, it freaks out, says cancel, and resume an emergency stop. It'll actually come to a stop on the road there if we weren't to do anything.
wow. That was like the Navigator would like pump the brakes if you stopped
Yeah.
touching it.
Stop touching it. Don't stop touching me. You see now my maximum power in EV mode is decreased again.
Oh no.
Yeah, I only have about 80%. So that is kind of interesting that it must be dealing with some sort of heat soak. Keep that in mind if you plan on aggressively driving your TA Polestar in EV only.
Yes.
But what's really been cool to me about this car is the fact that you really can drive it as just a casual, daily driver type vehicle and get remarkably good efficiency driving as an electric vehicle. But then those few times when you want it, you can drive like a hoon in Polestar Engineer mode and genuinely enjoy it. I mean, let's be honest with yourself. Unless you live in somewhere like the mountains and your daily commute gets to be through 10 miles of super fun, twisty switchback roads, most people are daily driving in pretty boring, mundane driving situations. So even if you drive something cool and sporty, you probably don't really want it to be cool and sporty when you're just trying to get it back from the office or to the grocery store or something.
Yeah.
So
this car is perfect for that.
Yeah, it really is. And I would probably elect to get the 20-inch wheels rather than the 21s. I think it'd ride a little bit better.
Right.
Even though these wheels look excellent.
They do look really proper.
Yeah. The fact that I was able to do so much driving with this car and just have it plugged in at home, it was really great. Now, one thing I will point out, for those of you who are kind of more EV enthusiasts, this doesn't have the quickest 240 volt charging rate. So it can only do 3.6 kilowatts as opposed to your standard electric vehicle, which can do double that. So all that's really going to mean is if you are in the type of situation where maybe you go out and you do 25, 30 miles of driving, come home for an hour, and then have to go back out, you're not going to get as much charge and range in that hour as you might be used to in a more of a conventional electric vehicle. I think for 99% of people that's not really going to be a big deal, but it is kind of jarring if you're used to charging an electric vehicle to be like, oh, like I'm barely getting any use out of this 240 charger. Mm-hmm. So another thing to think about that is you kind of don't even really need a 240 charger at home for this car, because if you just plug it into a normal 120 volt wall outlet, it'll get fully charged overnight. So I think a lot of people would appreciate that they don't have to rush out and buy a level 2 charger just to use this car as an EV.
Yeah. You can just use the charger that comes with it, leave it in the garage, and pull in, plug in, good to go.
Mm-hmm. And because it's a plug-in hybrid and not a full EV, it's not like you need that in the car, because if you go on a road trip, you don't need to charge the car. You can just use gasoline.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, any of the qualms I have with this car are very, very small. And one of the biggest downsides is it's going to be really hard to find, because not many people are ordering T8 Polestar extended range XC60s from Volvo, and even fewer of the V60, which I pointed out to you earlier would be the even sexier version to go with. That's what Chris and I would probably choose. So even though it's remarkably cool and really a deal compared to some other vehicles that are a lot more money. I mean, we both loved the BMW X5 plug-in hybrid. Yeah. But you're looking at like what, almost $90,000 for something like that in most trims.
That was an expensive car. Yeah.
Right, which it's more capable. You can tow more. It's larger and everything like that. But this is more fun, more unique. You don't look like just kind of a sellout who bought a BMW X5. And this absolute S-tier Bowers & Wilkins audio system, which we do have a separate review. I'll link in the description, and a members only test on it as well. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty darn good car.
I really like it, and all Volvos.
Yeah, really, that is the thing. There are very few Volvos we'd have any qualms with owning, but also very few Volvos that come with gold seatbelts. So thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully this does convince some people out there on the internet to go out to your local Volvo dealer and order an XC60, or really any T8 Volvo, because they've got excellent interiors, excellent exteriors, sound systems. We didn't talk at all about the Android Automotive infotainment system. I talked a little bit more about that in my sound system review. It's okay. I kind of prefer Volvo's older system, but the cool thing is this will continue to evolve and grow and have more features.
Should be getting updates with Apple CarPlay and other things soon.
Right, and you can use full Google Maps, which is really convenient. If you do want to see more on the car, check the links in the description, and we'll see you on the next one. We're Charlie and Chris with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.